Welcome to Veteach channel. Continuation to our discussion with respect to the individual behavior. Now we'll be going to understand the topic attitude. A positive attitude will get you. So generally these are some kind of statements which are going to give a kind of understanding related to this particular word. I'll explain you it later. Attitude is everything. Positive attitude. Attitude, my choice. So these are some of the words generally we use it. So here the attitude is nothing but attitudes, evaluative statements indicating one's feeling either favorably or unfavorably towards persons, objects, events or situations. So it is evaluative statements. Evaluative statements in the sense, so giving an evaluation, a kind of what we say feel. Like suppose a student. So if I want to say whether the student is a very good student or a bad. So for this I supposed to take up some kind of parameters to evaluate. Like suppose his attendance. So if he is maintaining every time some 80 to 90% is the average attendance. So it is one parameter. So the performance in the examination. So the every time if he is scoring more than 70% and getting the distinction. So it is another parameter. Third important parameter. Whatever internal assessments or the assignments that are given to him time to time, he is submitting in time. So these are three important parameters which are going to develop a kind of feel towards him. So here evaluative statements indicating one's feeling either favorably or unfavorably towards persons, objects, events or situations. A learned predisposition to respond in a consistently favorable or unfavorable manner with respect to a given object. Attitudes can be positive or negative. So let us see how this is going to be. So these attitudes generally it depends upon three important parameters. One is the cognitive factors, second one is the affective factors and third one is the behavioral. So evaluative statements are judgments concerning objects, people or events. The three components are cognitive, the opinion or belief segment of an attitude. The opinion or belief segment of an attitude. Like suppose we say tiger is a wild animal. So the opinion or belief segment. So because so maybe your parents or maybe your elders or maybe your teachers or the books which you are reading. So from all these parameters you are developing a kind of feel towards that tiger is a wild animal. So it is cognitive feeling. Affective, the emotional or feeling segment of an attitude. Emotional means the kind of inherent feel that is generating on it. Like suppose a old woman who is begging on the road and shivering because of cold weather or this thing. So immediately we will be going to develop a kind of feel towards sympathy, feeling sympathetic towards that particular person. So it is the emotional factor. Then behavioral, an intention to behave in a certain way towards someone or something. Like suppose, so if you are a teacher and though you are repetitively advising students not to talk or not to create any nuisance, but if they are go on continually interrupting the class, immediately your response is going to be on a negative side. It is a behavioral aspect. So these three things are going to develop a kind of attitude towards one object or people or events. So here the main features of attitude are going to be changes with time and situation. So whatever the attitude that you have towards one particular entity, one particular object, so it goes on changing from time to time and situation to situation related to feelings and beliefs of people. So the people who are there in the society, so it is related to, it is depending on the feelings and beliefs of the people. Then affects one's behavior positively or negatively. Affect perception. So the kind of feeling that you are developing in your mind, so it is going to be differed based on either a positive or a negative attitude. Then learn through experience. So all the times as the time goes on and you are involving with various kinds of aspects of your life or the profession, so this experience is going to build a kind of attitude to think about the others. So here the formation of attitude, generally the attitude it depends upon family and peer group, then neighborhood, then vicarious learning, experience with the object, mass communication and economic state. So these are the different important parameters which are helping to form a kind of attitude. One is family and peer group, then neighborhood, vicarious learning, experience with the object, mass communication and economical status. So let us see what are these particular formation of attitude. Experience with object. Attitude can develop from a personally rewarding or punishing experience with a object. So like suppose, so attitude can develop from a personally rewarding or punishing experience with a object. Like suppose, so if you are going to complete the given task within time, so your manager is going to give you an appreciation, a recognition and reward. So this builds a kind of attitude towards him. If you are failing to deliver this particular given project with time, so what kind of impacts will be there? So this could develop another kind of feel towards. This is experience with the object. Vicarious learning, formation of attitude by observing behavior of others and consequences of that. So observing the behavior of others. So vicarious learning is by observing the behavior of others. So how they are behaving. So based on their behavior, you are going to develop a kind of feel towards it. That is vicarious learning. Then family family and peer groups. A person may learn attitudes through imitation of parents. Like suppose some of the times while you are going to give your signature, so most of the times generally we follow, like suppose if I am putting the signature like this and putting two dots in the bottom, so even the inherited properties acquired by my children, so there may be chances to even follow the same similar kind of way that they are going to practice their sign. Then about neighborhood involves being told what attitudes to have by parents, schools, community organizations, religious doctrine, friends, etc. Neighborhood in the sense the place where we are living and the way how we are associating various entities, like maybe our parents, our school, our educational institutions, or maybe the religious doctrines, or some kind of professional associations that we have. So all these are going to influence your attitude. Then economic status. Our economical and occupational positions also contribute to attitude formation. So the attitude will depend upon the economic status, whether you are a rich person or maybe a moderate person or low income level person, or the profession that you are doing. All these influence your attitude building. Then mass communication, television, radio, newspaper and magazine feed their audiences large quantities of information. So this is the formation of attitude. So we will be going to understand the determinants of attitude. Attitude will depend upon the environment, the experience and education. These three are called as the determinants of attitude. So here first one is the environment, next one is the experience, and last one is about the education. Environment, it says environment consists of the following: home, school, workplace, media and culture. So environment, home, positive or negative influence. So if a family, they are going to be very happy family with much more of love and affection, automatically that will be given a positive impact on the mindset of the child who is growing, and he also behaves in the same way. And some families, so we find a different kind of situation where no one cares or no one feels about it, automatically it gives a kind of negative behavior in the grown children. Then school, so peer pressure, like suppose if studying in a school where the teachers are continuously monitoring, insisting and making you to follow a disciplined approach, automatically that will be inhibited and you will be practicing the same, and that will reflect in your future life, maybe your college or maybe in your profession. So you will be following the same disciplined structured environment which you are habituated during your school education. Work environment, supportive or over critical supervisor. So if a supervisor who is going to be always supportive, encouraging and helping you in the work environment, so you will develop a positive attitude. But he is very adamant, not encouraging you, or all the times he is trying to punish you, thinking that you are a negative attitude person or a negative interested person, so this gives a negative feel. Then media, television, newspapers, magazines, etc. All these are related to the environment as one determinant. Experience, our behavior changes according to our experiences with people and events in our life. So the experiences that we come across, maybe the organization or maybe the people where you are associated, or your neighbors, your colleagues, so they are going to associate with you, and their way of behavior will create a kind of understanding and approach towards them. So that is one area. Then education, so your level of education will also influence in building your attitude. So the change of attitude will be, one is the changing attitude of self and changing attitude of employees. So changing attitude of self and changing attitude of employees means as an individual, and employees in the sense a group of people. So here let us see, changing attitude of self is be aware of one's attitude. You should assume and observe and create a kind of feel on your own towards the other person. Realize that there are few, if any, benefits from harboring negative. So if you are developing a kind of negative feel, negative thought, so you are going to build a negative attitude towards the other person. Keep an open mind all the time. So you should be very open in receiving various kinds of input stimuli, where this input stimuli will help you at the time of processing to develop an optimistic, very positive feel towards the others. Then stay away from negative influence. So like suppose if there are group of students in the class environment where all the times they are mischievous, even though you are very regular, but if you are go on continuing and joining with that particular association, so initially though you may not be going to create any kind of noise or the disturbance, but the teacher may feel that you are joining with the other mischievous group members and you are also spoiling yourself. So these are the changing attitude of the self. Where changing attitude of employees is give feedback, accentuated positive conditions, positive role model, providing new information, use of fear, influence of friends or peer group. So attitude of employees means when the employees as a group, so you have to give feedback at the regular intervals of time. If you want to change the attitude of a group of members, you call them, counsel them and you advise them with respect to their behavior as the feedback that is observed. Then about accentuated positive conditions. So all the times you try to create a positive environment to follow. Like suppose as I said, so the queue system in TTD, if the thousands of devotees they are thronging for the darshan of Lord, so as the system it is already built, so automatically people they will be going to stand in queue and they will move one after the other and without any kind of what we say rush at one particular point of time and creating some kind of utterness. Then positive role model all the times. So as peer member who is going to act as a supervisor, so he should be a role model and he himself is putting right set of path where automatically the other employees will be going to follow that particular set path. Then providing new information all the times. So to change the attitudes of the employees, we have to give new set of information which is on the positive sides to change their morale. Then use of fear. Sometimes we have to create some kind of the threat that if crossing the limit, crossing the boundaries are unable to perform, even though enough platform is given for them to upbuild, but still if they are not showing interest to learn or being lethargic, so such kind of situations we have to use the stick approach. Then influence of friends or peer group. So these are changing attitudes of employees. So from this let us move to positive attitude. As already in the earlier topics we understood that attitude will be of two types, either on the positive side or on the negative side. So first let us see positive attitude. A positive attitude is a state of mind that allows you to envision and expect good things. It does not mean living in denial of the negative situations around you. This attitude allows you to stay optimistic. The benefits of a positive attitude include anticipating happiness, health, success, and means always you are going to be optimistic. Doesn't mean that you are neglecting even the negative factors are there. Yes, negative factors should also be considered and you should correct it. But always you should think that the person is supposed to follow the theory Y approach but not the theory X approach. What the theory X says is always a person is going to be very lethargic in nature, very negative minded, he never work, and these are some kind of the theory X principle. Whereas theory Y says human being who is very assertive and committed and is sincere and ready to do and he can do. So this is a theory Y approach. So always in a positive attitude, so you should follow the theory Y approach, and the theory X approach should also be given due consideration to correct the things, regulate the things. So this builds happiness, health, success, and opportunity. The other narration is also given. Having a positive mental attitude is one of the most important things to develop in life. More energy, better health, greater chance at success, and an overall happier life all show just how important having the right attitude is. Your attitude in life determines a lot more than you would believe. So always you be very optimistic with positive attitude. Automatically you can make your environment be very happy, healthy, and success, and you create wonders with the members who are associated with you. So this is the end of the topic attitude. Thank you.